Hi, I'm Jessica, and I'm going to be in John chapter 11 today. Everyone here knows that the shortest verse in the Bible is Jesus wept. However, I wonder, why did he weep? Some people say that he wept because Lazarus had died and he was sad because of that. Some people say that he was angry that so many people had such unbelief in him. He tells Mary and Martha to not weep, for that is for the dead, not the living. But when they responded, if he had just come sooner, their brother would not have died, I suspect Jesus was angry at their unbelief. In John chapter 11, it talks about how a man named Lazarus was sick. He lived in Bethany with his sisters Mary and Martha. He goes on to explain who Mary was and what the sisters did. They sent a message to Jesus saying, Lord, your dear friend is very sick. When Jesus heard this, he stayed for 2 extra days and said, let's go back to Judea. So I've always wondered, why did he stay those 2 days when everyone knows if your best friend's dying, you go and see him? Well, Jesus said to his disciples after they objected to going back to Judea, that our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, and now I will go and wake him. Verse 12 says, the disciples said, Lord, if he is sleeping, he will soon get better. They thought Jesus meant Lazarus was actually sleeping, but Jesus meant that he had died. So he told them plainly, Lazarus is dead, and for your sake, I'm glad I wasn't there, for now you will really believe. Come, let's go and see him. Martha said to Jesus when he got there, that, Lord, if you had only been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that God will give you whatever you ask. To me, that means that Martha believes that Jesus can raise Lazarus from the dead. However, she goes on to, Jesus tells her, your brother will rise again, and she says, yes, he will rise when everyone else rises on the last day. So she doesn't believe that Jesus can do this. She believes that he is safe, he is coming, but that he's not going to come back in her lifetime. Jesus told her, I am the resurrection and the life. Anyone who believes in me will live even after dying. Everyone who lives in me and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this, Martha? She says, yes, I've always believed you're the Messiah, and goes on exalting his name. Well, then she goes off and gets Mary, and Mary comes out to see him, and she says the same thing. Lord, if only you had been here, my brother would not have died. And, Jesus saw her weeping and saw the other people wailing with her, and deep anger swelled up in him. So that right there tells me that he was angry. And it's very important to remember that Jesus was a human. He got angry. It goes on to ask, where did you put him? And when he came to the place, he wept. Actually, strike that. It says they told him, come and see, and then he wept. He didn't even see where they had laid him. He just wept. He was probably overcome with emotions at this point. It says in verse 38, Jesus was still angry when he arrived at the tomb, the cave with the stone rolled across its entrance. Roll the stone away, Jesus said, but Martha protested, saying that he's been dead for 4 days and the smell would be terrible. So Jesus says, roll away the stone, and they don't. They say no. Well, in this time, they believed that you could only be resurrected the first 3 days after death. Sorry. And so it was very hard for him to raise Lazarus if they went off of what they knew. But this is Jesus. So if Jesus waited a few days to travel back to Bethany, only to find his beloved friend dead for 4 days, we ask ourselves, why did he wait? Why does he weep if he knows that all he has to do is say, Lazarus, come forth, and he does? Why cry when he knows what is going to happen? I, for one, believe that it is probably both out of love and compassion for Lazarus' family and out of an anger towards the unbelief that surrounded him. So what about you? Do you want Jesus to cry out in love or anger at your death? If you want love, then you can receive that right now by simply saying the prayer of salvation. Lord, we just ask you to save the person who's watching this video and show them exactly who you are. Lord, as they ask you into their hearts right now, bless them and keep them. Amen.